Hi, Joe Kehrig with the Kehrig Real Estate Team, and this is your San Ramon Valley Weekly Update. We're going to talk about the 2026 housing market forecast. And when you look at this first slide, expect improvement in existing home sales. The last couple years, we had just around 4 million homes sold through the United States. And to contrast that, we had over 6 million during the Disneyland years of 2020, 21, and the first half of 22, ran between 5.5 and 6. In 21, it was actually over 6 million. So this is one of the lowest amount of homes that we've had sold, yet we still have, I think, 30 million more people in the United States over the last 15 years. So again, the market has been slow. A lot of that's because of lack of inventory, but that's changing as inventory rises and there's more homes to choose from. You're going to have more sales. So the projected is it's going to go up to about 4.5 million. So they expect about 10% more homes sold this year. And a lot of it's tied in to two things. Look at the mortgage rate trends lower in 2025, all the way from 7, going a year ago, all the way down to, we're actually hitting in the high 5s right now, 5.99 and such forth. And that makes a huge difference. That's depending on the loan you have, that can make $400, $800, $1,000 or more dollars a month difference, not only for out of pocket, but also for qualifying purposes. Remember, you have to make 3 to 4 times, so if your payments go up by $1,000, you have to make 3 or 4,000 more a month or $50,000 more a year to qualify for that 1% higher interest rate. So again, the lower interest rates are going to get more people off the fence, and that's going to contribute to more sales. And then also the inventory has been rebuilding gradually. Look at what we talk about, and you've heard me before saying the last normal years, 2017, 18, and 19 before COVID. If you look at this graph, you'll see the top 3 gray ones are basically from 17, 18, and 19. And then you see in 2020 during COVID how it just dove down. And then 21 through 23, it's been lower. But look at 25, it's gradually coming up. So we're going to probably end up this year with as many homes on the market as we did during a normal year. So number one, more homes on the market, interest rates down. There's going to be more sales. They're expecting another 500,000 in sales from 4 to 4.5 million. But the market still remains, undersupplied, even though we're saying that there's a lot more homes on the market. Look at this since 1990. And you can see, 94 through 2008, when things got crazy, how much inventory. And look at the white dotted line. And you can see now inventory is about where it has been, back in the year. So it's back to somewhat of an average, but it's still, you can see, through 2008, 9, 10, there wasn't a lot of inventory. And again, just to remind you, this is new home inventory. This graph is new home inventory because builders were building like crazy, and that contributed a lot to the supply and demand, along with the funny money, the ninja loans, no income, no job, no asset loans that basically were going on. But then you see after that, the builders dropped down to almost nothing, but now it's gone up, but it still is lower, than it has been in the past. So again, even though inventory is up, and we expect, it's back somewhat to normal, the new home starts are actually slowing down because builders were building for a while. But what builders are doing now is, I think I heard that Lennar, if I have the number right, was factoring in like 20 some odd percent, of basically their costs in the incentives. Giving a lower interest rate, giving extras. I just had someone that purchased a home, a new home, and they got it for $100,000 less than because it was inventory, it was going to be inventory, than what the builder was asking. So the builders remember 2008, and they want to basically not end up with the inventory like we did in 2008, where we had over 1 million new homes just sitting there. So again, the market, will have 10% more sales. We have more inventory, but the backfill of the new homes coming on the market, it was good for the last couple of years, but now it's starting to slow down. You can see what Jake Krimmel, senior economist with Realtor.com, said. We anticipate affordability will improve modestly on average in 2026. The results from our expectations of slightly lower interest rates, only modest increase in home prices, and a more balanced market in recent years. So the affordability will help, because look at the affordability. What drives affordability? Rates, prices, and wages. Well, look at the mortgage rates. They've gone down and they expect them to go down. They'll probably stay pretty steady in the 6% range, low sixes, high fives. But again, we talked about that at the top when 2024, a year ago, when they were actually, or a year and a half ago, when they were actually 7%. So again, lower interest rates, and then the home price growth. You can see that it's still anticipated 1.5%, but it's pretty moderate. You can see any place from NAR predicting 4% to the Mortgage Bankers Association saying that, it's actually going to be a negative. But overall, most people expect prices still to go up, but very moderately, less than 5%, in a lot of cases 1 or 2%. Prices going, moderate, not really changing much. Interest rates going down makes things more affordable. Then you throw that wages will grow faster than home prices in 2026. You see what happened in 2020 and 21, where home price growth completely outweighed, the wages. But look at the last 2 years, 25 and 26. In 26, they expect for the first time that the wage price will actually outdo the increase, the inflation of the homes. So again, you basically have mortgage rates, home prices, and wages affect affordability. So we are probably in one of our most affordable times that we've been in the last few years. What's going on with our market? Well, if you've been watching, you know that the inventory was going down, 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 as it normally does. Most people take their home off the market, or if you're thinking about putting it on the market and it's December, a lot of times they wait till mid-January when they come on the market. Well, that's exactly what we're seeing. Look at the San Ramon market. It went from way up as far as inventory, which is normal, but you also saw the pendings go down. Now, the pendings will probably pick up, but also what we really have to watch is the actives compared to the pendings, because I still think we've got another month or so, month and a half, where we're going to see a lot more listings hit the market, and you see that in San Ramon. Same thing in Danville, though pendings have stayed pretty steady, and home price and the inventory has just gone up a little bit. Alamo market, same thing, though the pendings have gone up and the actives have gone up. So that's a little bit more of, an even market, what's going on. Look at Dublin, same type of thing as San Ramon. Dublin, home, there's more active listings and there's less pendings. But overall, you can still see now, Alamo didn't have any closings. That's why we don't have an average there. But the things that are selling are still averaging about 100% of asking. Though they're not selling in a week, they're selling in 2 weeks. They're selling more like, 4 to 6 weeks. So homes are staying on the market, but now that we're getting a fresh amount of homes, you're going to see that average days on market probably go down a little bit. Obviously, anytime we talk about this, the market's different no matter what neighborhood, what city, when you even look across the country. So again, if you just want to sit down and chat a little bit about, where does my home stand? I might be looking at making a move in a couple years. And again, we're consultants with you. A lot of times when we sit down with clients, the decision is made not to put the home on the market for various reasons. So, but if you ever want to reach out and just chat a little bit about it, give me a call. Put my 48 years of experience to work for you. Joe Kehrig, 925-487-6838, or drop me an email at joe@kehrigteam.com. Or if you want to learn more about the Kehrig team, visit our website, www.kehrigteam.com. Make sure you stay tuned, because this market is going to be very fluid, and how many actives we have compared to pendings is going to kind of plan out what's going to happen, at least for the first half of the year. So stay tuned.